Alright guys, welcome back to the channel once again, and in this video we're going to be talking about MCP security. So security means like we have to do some authentication over here. So that let's suppose someone is trying to connect your MCP server, so they have to verify their credentials, and then once the credentials verify, so they can access your MCP tools and then they can query the data through it. So it's like people make a public MCP tool as well, so they just deploy it on the server, but there is no credential that they have to provide, or they have some OAuth enabled for them. So let's suppose it's a Google MCP, Slack MCP, or other MCP, different companies they build it. So you have to just log in through that MCP. You just have to connect it so that it will open the OAuth pop-up and then it will get connected. Other than that, some MCP server code is exists on the GitHub. So you can just download the GitHub code and then run the MCP locally, or you can just add the MCP server running file, the folder path and everything into the config, and then you can run it like the previously we did for that MCP server that I explained into the video. So similar to that, but here's the thing, other than this OAuth process, this is one of the also security authentication methods so that you can use it, and that's the main authentication that you can use it over here. But other than that, if let's suppose you have an MCP server, you don't want to build an OAuth process or something, you just want an API level security that you give the people token or some security key into the URL so that people can just paste that URL into the MCP connector LLM client, and then go to the connector and then paste it over there and try to connect it. So it doesn't have to follow the OAuth process, and it can just directly verify the credentials, verify the token internally in the MCP, and then it can just make you connected and access all the tools. So it's kind of that internal. For that, it's gonna be little easy for you that you don't have to build extra process that people have to redirect and then come with the callback URL with the token, with the authorization code, and then that code you accept it, and after that you retrieve that access token and refresh token, so that every time LLM will call the request, so that it will send you the access token and then you can validate it. And if your request has been expired, so that you can it will send you the refresh token to retrieve the access token, and later it can just validate it. All those process is over here. So it's that is the simple process that we always been doing about this third party authentication connectors we use Google, Facebook, and any other. We just connect them through the OAuth process and then make our application authenticated and then use the tokens again and again while calling the APIs. But yeah, this scenario also I have to figure out because this we have only the token, and then we just want to basic authentication, don't want too many things over here. So it's kind of that we're going to be discussing over here, and I'm going to be explaining everything step by step. I have already written the code, so I'm not going to be writing code over here. I'm just going to explain the process, and that's how it actually works, and I'm going to be showing you inside that module and library as well. You can also use the FastMCP. So it's a module of Fast API, that if you know, the Fast API is another library that you can use for writing the backend code. You can use the similar to that, and you can list your tools over there, and then you can list your skills over there. So if you don't know about the skills, so I will explain in the upcoming videos how to add skills. Let's go to the screen and let's check it out how it works. As you can see my screen, this is weather.py. So the previous video we had some code and then MCP tools listed, so that we were able to access those tools inside the Claude desktop, and then we would try to fetch the weather report and all. Okay, so today I have done some modifications, so added some extra code to run this. So I have so the code start from here. So if you see name.main, so it's kind of that, so it will execute the main function, and name.main is if you know about the Python, so the main is if it's the main file, then it's gonna execute this function, and if this function is been not in this file or somewhere else, so it's not gonna execute that. So that is the meaning of this main. Okay, so if I go into this one, so over here, so this is the main function, and then main function will execute this code. So what I have done over here, I have added the MCP server, so I access the MCP server over here, and then we have to check remember this, whenever we connect the MCP server with the URL, so whether we connect on the SSE route or a MCP route /MCP or /SSE, so it's by default configured so that these URLs give you accessibility, so that you can modify as well if you want to. You can add your own custom route and then you can do it, but by default in the MCP there are SSE route, so it defines the transport of connection. SSE give you the SSE server send event, and MCP protocol give you the HTTP streamline, so that you can just directly connect it. So there is one way is the STDIO, so standard input and output is kind of directly the config you connect with into local system. But if you have to connect with the server, so whether you need server send event this one or another is the HTTP streamline. So these are the transport that method that you can use to connect with the MCP. Okay, I'm using the SSE over here, so we have to remember, and I'm gonna be using it as a custom part. There is one SSE like that always gonna be inside the MCP server, so it's like it's already there. So if we don't use this one, because if we want to use it like that silent one, so we have to have like that authentication where we're gonna do auth through, and then we have to send the issuer URL and then callback URL and all those things. So it's gonna take us on another route while accessing the URL, and then redirect you and then complete the OAuth process, and then you come back with the code and then authorize that code. It's simple like that. So that's gonna another way. If you want to do it like this API token or something, so you can just add it as a custom route over here, and then you can just verify that token and make it connected. Okay, so that's what I have done over here. So I have added this MCP path, okay, and then token verifier is like I have added one class over here, so this is gonna verify my token. So you can call the API over here to verify the token, otherwise you can just do simple process, but mostly we're gonna be calling the API, or we have like database connected already, so we can verify over here as well. Okay, like cryptogenic and all, like decrypt the token, and then after that verification and all those things. So let's go back to that same file. So this is token verifier. After that we are like registering the app over here. So like server app, it's like it's gonna be registered. You're gonna be adding route over here, MCP route. So it's like MCP path. You see this SSE path is added, and after that you're gonna be adding the host. So what is the host? So that host is your local host, and the transport security. Okay, all these things you have to add. So these are the default thing. There are more configs inside this streamable HTTP app. I told you about that, like streamable HTTP. So this is a streamable HTTP transport connection, because we're gonna be connecting through URL, not the config file. Okay, we use it this way, and this create our app, server app, and after that we have to register this app inside the UVCon. Okay, so that like this is one API key token middleware. So whenever I receive like whenever someone hit the URL, so that directly goes inside this class, and then it will try to retrieve the token from the, like it will check the URL, complete URL, and then it will get the token out of it, like after the query params, and then verify that token, and if the token is valid, so it's gonna be process, execute all those things, otherwise it's gonna throw the error, and then we're gonna be putting all these things in the UVCon, and then it start run the server. So UVCon run, UVCon gonna be our running the server. So this is my application which comes from here, and then rest of the other things, host and port and other info. Okay, that's the whole thing. After that, when we start the server, so this directly gonna start the server. It's not gonna verify anything until unless I hit the route, because I have to hit the route on SSE path. Once I hit the route on SSE path, it's gonna be going into this API token middleware, and after that it's gonna be requiring the API key, like retrieving the API key from there, and after that verifying everything. Okay, so let me just add it over here. So let me just go and then start the server. So if I have to start the server, so I'm gonna be using uv run weather.py. Okay, so first I have to go into that folder. So I'm gonna be going into, and then make sure you activate the env, in which env you are working on. Okay, so you have to go source.venv/bin/activate, and after that just do uv run weather.py. Okay, weather.py. So my server is running on the localhost 3000. Now I'm gonna be using the ngrok to host it on the HTTPS route, because if you want to connect like as a connector in the Claude, so you need to have HTTPS route, not the localhost HTTP route. Okay, so I'm gonna be starting another window over here, and then do ngrok 1000, and then I'm gonna get the HTTPS route. I'm gonna be using this. So I will show you how I'm gonna be pasting the API key into this. I'm gonna be like, let me just open the Claude desktop. Okay, and then go to connectors over here, connectors, connected, then I put weather, and then put server URL, and after that I will not do anything. I will just put like /SSE, because my path is SSE for connection, and then it will access the tools. Okay, connected. It's gonna throw me the error because the API key doesn't exist into that one, so it throw the error over here. So you see the error has been thrown. If I just remove it from here, and I will just put the random API key because I'm not validating it, I just want to access the API key from there. It could be anything into that, it doesn't matter. So SSE _ API $API key, and then I just type a random text over here, and then just weather. So you see over here it's gonna be connected, and I will show you. Hang on, let me okay, so the path is incorrect. Oh, sorry. So let me just reconnect it, and then go over here, tools over here. Okay, so our server is connected now, and you can see I have two different tools, add numbers and multiply numbers. Okay, and it needs approval. If you don't have, like, if you want to allow it, so you keep it always allow, otherwise you can keep it disabled as well, so it's up to you. So go to home and then ask over here, use weather to add one and 2. Okay, and it's gonna just add it over here. And the Claude reasoning is very good. Even you have like very complicated tasks to perform, and then very different kind of context you have into the MCP tools. So Claude reasoning is much better that like in comparison to other models, other AI, so that like Claude can easily understand like what is the meaning of it, and then it can just decide your tool and then access it. Like I've been trying on Sonnet. I never went higher than this one like Opus or Fable. I didn't try on this. Like Opus and Fable are much smarter models. So I always been trying Sonnet, and Sonnet is much better over here. So you can try your own different kind of reasoning models, up to you. But yeah, Sonnet works for me, so it's kind of that I'm using it. But yeah, if you go over here, so how the things work when I hit the SSE route. So you have to just remember this code. Like it's a very simple code over here. Like you have to add the MCP paths like this, and you can add multiple paths as much as you can, as many as you can, and then after that you can add it. So this is the registering your server and then running it. So now go to create server, and the create server is the code that we had like in the previous video. We used to create the MCP server like this earlier, and then we add the tools in the MCP server, registering tools over here, and after that you return the app from here. But otherwise we were just run the server directly. Okay, so it was opening us like inspector as well, and then it will like make it accessible. Okay, so it's kind of that. So mostly on the production level people use like this, not simple, like because it's not like much useful and flexible. So that's why people use UVCon to run the server, and then it treat this as a server, actually backend server. Okay, so you can have database connection and everything over here, and then you have an MCP server also. So your tools can be also accessible, and your database connection is also working, so everything will work over here. Okay, so I have this like middleware over here. So this works as a middleware, and this is the way when call this middleware. So it just get call function get called over there directly, and then it comes, request comes over here when we hit like /SSE. So that's why we did over here. So when we add the MCP path over here, so which means like it has to be activated on this MCP path. Okay, so it comes over here, and after that it goes and then it's try to get the query, like what are the query params into this, because it gets the URL, and after that it split the URL, and then it gets the query params, and then after that it gets the query, like you see the query params.get, and then it gets the API key from here, that API key I put it, and after that I'm just not returning the error, I'm just returning success, like so that you have to return the success like this. Self.app scope receive send with token. So that token, when you send it, so that token will be saved on the MCP side. So token means like you can send the access token as well, otherwise you can send any key, whatever the key you want, so it will be saved in the MCP, like in the LLM client. And then next set the token as well from here, like set the token in the current session, so that like when the LLM will access the tool, so that at that time you can pick the token from the current session, and then using the session you can just validate the token and use it. It's kind of that. Okay, so send with token, when your token is validated, okay, so after that you see the self-token verifier issue token. So if you see this function, so this function verifier, here it is, so session token verifier, so this being access over here, so this comes over here, token verifier, self-token verifier is already initialized, and that's being called over here, issue token. So okay, so it create one token and issues it. Okay, so it will send it back to this function, will be executed over here in the self.app scope receive send with token. So this function you have to call it, because this function is actually that the way you tell the MCP that everything is verified. I'm sending you the response that like authentication is done, and then once you send this request, so then it will start accessing your MCP tool. Okay, and if you throw the error before this, so then it's not gonna access it. It's kind of that as well. Okay, so let's suppose I reject it over here. So it's kind of promise, if you understand the promise. So the promise you resolve and reject. So if you are resolving it, so you have to send the response, like what response you want to send the MCP, so that it will save the things. So this is all on the high level, like how we can build a simple token level authentication, and then try to access the details and try to access the things. But if you want to build it, like you want to make the auth true, and then after that you do it. So I have a documentation already over here, MCP over here, and then you can just do like this. Okay, understand authorization. So learn how to implement your authorization FC server using OAuth 2.1. Okay, so that's the only way that you can do it, and the other way is like which I showed you already. Okay, so you can ask like login details as well in the way I showed you over here. Otherwise you have to build your own OAuth process, or you can use third-party OAuth process for authentication, and after that you can connect with your MCP server. Okay, so all those process like similar to that, like you're gonna be having one URL which gonna be taking it to like routing it to like do the OAuth process, and after that you have to add the URLs like this so that it can understand. Okay, so you can provide the scope scopes like MCP tools, MCP resources, what scopes you want to like provide to that like person so that it can access. So those, according to those scopes, you can like give accessibility to the user tools and resources and prompts into the server. Otherwise you can like avoid it. To user cannot access it until unless they don't have a scope. So it's kind of that. So you have to send the config like this: authorization endpoint, issuer URL. So issuer URL is the URL of the third party where the authentication process gonna be happening, and then authorization endpoint, token endpoint, registration endpoint. So all these endpoints you have to provide so that it will send you the request, validate the token, or like retrieve the token by access, like refresh token. So this is how it works. So all these details already into this like code, and this is the very easy process that you can do over here. Other than that, like that process is little complicated, that which I showed you. So it's kind of like little bit stops you have to do, but this is very straightforward written over here. You just have to keep adding the config and then and just implement the authentication into this one. So that's it, guys. That's it. I just wanted to show you, but if you want to implement by this way, this is a simple process. So you can just go step-by-step process, read over here, and then you can implement it like access token, refresh token. I told you already about it. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. That's it, what I just wanted to show you. And in the next video we're going to be talking more about the MCPs, like skills, prompt, resources, and everything, and how to add context, how to like add LLM so the LLM can understand, like let's suppose you have a LLM client already, but you want to have internal LLM for understanding the more context, how you can reduce the token number of usage of tokens, so that like optimizations and all. Also we're going to be talking about it, how we can build a co-pilot with using MCPs. Like let's suppose you want to build your own chatbot like Claude and the OpenAI, and then use the OpenAI LLM key or the Claude key to run the co-pilot, but it can access only your application level data, not like other than application, like not write the code or not internet access or anything, just access your only application level thing. So all those things, how many companies have already built their co-pilot, so they can just show you the form and all those things. It's only work related to the system, not other than that. So it's all these kind of things we're going to be discussing more and more over here, and I'm going to be explaining it step by step. Okay, so thank you so much, guys. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.